Good morning and welcome to Monday Mornings with Margie. I'm here with a fabulous crew of young people. All four happen to be related to me. I have my two children and my niece and nephew. And so we have Charlie.
Hi.
Charlie. We have Kai. We have Carolyn.
Hello.
And we have Jonathan. And there we go. And so Carolyn and Jonathan live in Iowa, right on the suburbs or right outside of Iowa City. And Kai and Charlie live in Western Massachusetts with me. So I brought them on because we've had a lot going on over the last 9 months that have impacted, all of our lives. And we also are going into a new year right now. It's our first week of 2021, which hopefully we're all going into this with new hopes and dreams for the upcoming year. So I thought, who better to start the year off but with young people who have gone through this with us, have been brave and resilient, and also may have some, hopes or expectations for the year to come. So I'm going to start off with my first question for you all. And my question is, what has been the biggest change for each of you over the past 9 to 10 months since we knew COVID was here in the US? Who would like to start? Okay, Carolyn, you want to, Jonathan, there we go. All right, Jonathan.
For me, it was a big change for school because I've always been like a homebody. Most of my hobbies are like indoors and stuff. So for me, it was school, going from this big change from being in like normal school and then like starting like my 8th grade year in online school. So it was really different from each other. So it took a while to be adjusted to it, but eventually it just became like natural and it was fine after that. And I didn't hate it either. So I was fine with both in-person and online school. But yeah, it was just the big change from those two things.
Sure. I have many friends who are more introverts than extroverts, who in some ways haven't minded so much having a little bit of extra time sort of in the house or on their own. But friends of mine who are more extroverted, this has been really hard for. So Carolyn, what about your experience? What's been the biggest change for you that you would say in the last 9 months?
A couple things probably. Just school also. Going from a week of school to 2 to 3 times a week or not even going and doing online school has been tough since I'm a sophomore, and it's weird because it's like my first couple years of high school. It's online. So yeah, and then also the social aspect. I haven't been able to do really a lot of things with my friends lately, so it's been kind of hard with that. Because every time I've asked my parents to hang out, I don't really get to do that very much, so that's been challenging. And then basketball also. During the summertime, we still play tournaments, but there was a lot of rules that were kind of weird, I guess, because it just started. And then for high school basketball, we have to wear masks now, so that's kind of hard to get used to. But yeah, that's basically all.
Okay. Kai, what about for you? What's been the biggest change?
Well, for me, it's definitely school because I can't really like focus on a computer or do like online school, and I miss like being in person and seeing people. That's like the biggest thing for me.
Yeah. And Charlie, last but not least.
My biggest thing was probably not being able to hang out with friends because during school I would always play basketball with them and then like visit them after school sometimes. And like we would have sports on the weekend, so I get to hang out with them a lot. So it was just weird not being able to see my friends that much.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot more video game platform
Yeah.
relationships with people. Okay. So why don't you share a little bit, because I think different states have done things differently at times. So I guess my question's, what has it been like for you over the last 9 months? Like, what has been your school situations? And what have you liked and what have you not liked about how school's been done in both areas of the country? We'll start with you, Charlie, on this one. So what can you tell people what kind of situation you've been in as far as school? Is it remote? Is it hybrid? Is it in person? What have you been doing?
I've been doing all remote, but we may be switching to hybrid next week. So it's been much different than when we're fully in person, and it'll be still different when we go in next week. But yeah, we're doing remote.
What have you liked about it, if anything, and what have you disliked about it?
I like how you can have like not more time, but like the teacher's more around because you have that chat box that you can type in and they can answer your questions almost right away. And so I just don't really like having to like sit in front of a computer all day and watch and write stuff down. So
yeah. What about out in Iowa? What has the situation been for you guys over the last 9 months?
So we have been going back and forth between online and hybrid the whole since August. So actually we had a choice if we wanted to go all online or hybrid, and Jonathan and I chose hybrid. And so we've been we started with online, then we went to hybrid, then it's been going back and forth. We're doing hybrid now, and Jonathan and I go to school Thursday and Friday and every other Wednesday.
Okay.
And then the 2 days that we don't go to school, we do asynchronous learning, which is we're supposed to be doing work, but we don't really. I mean, I try to, but it's hard to because I procrastinate a lot.
Yeah.
So
Well, there's a certain level of motivation you have to have and sense of you knowing what you're doing for asynchronous.
Yeah. And then on our when we were online, we did half days, so they didn't make us stay on the computer all day. We just did like 4 classes a day, so we did that. And then with our district's looking to go back online next week, so we'll see if we're going to do that.
Wow.
But
So I'm assuming the changes have been because of rates of COVID going up and down and them making different decisions.
Yeah, and it's just been also challenging because some of my teachers are not very tech savvy. So the assignments have been kind of crazy because some are like giving us tests that we have to take at school when we have hybrid, and others are giving us like no tests at all. So it's kind of just a weird year. Yeah,
very weird year. So you guys talked a little bit about social life. So I'm curious, I'll start with Jonathan. What have you done as far as your social life? Like, how do you still stay connected to peers or friends or few friends or whatever you would whoever you'd normally kind of chat with? How have you managed that during this time?
Mostly me and my friends text during school and like during the week. But since we used to do more online, we didn't really communicate that much.
Mm,
But then we started playing like games together, like Among Us or other games, and we started to talk more.
mhm,
So just doing like things you would do in real life, like
mhm.
birthday parties or just like hanging out, and then like converting that to doing it online, like playing games with your friends, helps a lot with
Yeah,
staying connected for me.
yeah. What about you, Kai? What have
Um,
you done?
well, I don't really socialize with people in general, so it hasn't been a big thing for me, but well, when I do socialize now, it's usually just on like Snapchat or like Instagram, some form of social media to talk to
Mhm,
people.
mhm. And I've heard, I don't know for sure, but I've heard you are quite the TikTok video person.
Yeah.
So I've heard great things from lots of people. So there's a skill development during this time, TikTok. And Charlie, what about you?
Um, I've been texting with my friends, and in the summer, every once in a while I would like get to meet up with them but wear masks like and play basketball outside.
Mhm,
But right now I'm doing TikTok, like making videos, and you can send videos to people and
mhm,
like text me that.
mhm.
And I've been playing video games so that I can talk to them while doing something that we both like. So
Yeah, Fortnite.
2K.
And Carolyn, how about you?
It's been okay. I mean, when I wasn't playing basketball, my parents were less strict about it. I was able to hang out with like a couple people, but I didn't go on any like big gatherings or anything. Just like a couple people.
Mhm,
And then when basketball started, a lot of people on my team, we aren't really hanging out with anybody anymore because if one of us gets COVID, then the whole team has to shut down for 2 weeks, and we won't be able to practice or
mhm,
play in games. So that's kind of another reason why I'm not really hanging out with anybody. So yeah.
mm.
And then just to keep in touch with people, social media basically, like seeing them at school when we have school.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it must be different though, I would imagine, with the hybrid in school, there must be certain regulations. So I would assume the socializing is a little different than pre-COVID.
Yeah, not everybody's, because our school got split in half for
Yeah.
8 days and 3 days. So not all your friends are there. And I mean, you can talk to them like in the hallways, but that's basically it. Like during lunch, you can only sit with 2 other people. So yeah, that's another way to socialize, but that's basically it.
So I'll put this out there for whoever wants to answer it first. What would you say has been the hardest part of this whole scenario that we've been in and we continue to be in, hopefully for not much longer? But what would you say, like personally for you, what's been the hardest? Who wants to go?
I will,
Charlie.
yes.
Okay.
The hardest part for me is probably not being able to like do sports in like the normal way that we used to do it. Like I did like 3 weeks, 3 Saturdays of basketball, but it was only with 10 kids, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So it was weird. And I did baseball, but it was just a fall ball, and it was and it was just with the same group of kids, so it wasn't the same really.
Mm-hmm.
But like I wish that I could just like have a basketball team and be able to play basketball like normal.
Yeah. Yeah. Who wants to go next? Kai, what's been the hardest thing for you over the last several months?
I just school for me, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I said before, I think I'm like it's harder for me to learn online than like it is in person because I feel like I don't get as much information like on the computer, and half of the teachers don't know how to work Zoom, so it doesn't really go well.
Did you ever think we'd all become like Zoom and Google Classroom and all these different platforms? We're all like experts, or some people apparently aren't yet, but we're all becoming much more aware of these things. Carolyn and Jonathan, what has been the hardest for you?
For me, I think it has been school as well, because I enjoyed being at home. And at first, when we went through quarantine after spring break, we didn't know whether we were gonna come back the next week or if we were gonna do online school. So there was like a good couple days or like a couple weeks where we had nothing to do. So there was optional learning, but we didn't know what to do until eventually we did online. But I really enjoyed not being at school, and there was like, I know a lot of other people have gone through like a lot of like growth and other stuff, but and then suddenly I had to go back to school. So that was definitely hard for me because I did not want to go back after I've been enjoying myself for a couple months. But it's not that bad as it was last year for me. So that was probably the hardest thing.
Yeah. Well, and you guys have been going back and forth with what you're doing, which I think can also be more difficult. So, Carolyn, what about you?
I think probably not being able to go on vacations or see family. That's been pretty hard because that's something I look forward to during the year. So it's just kind of boring just seeing like the same family every day. Well, not the same, but it's like it gets old after a while. Like you want to see new people.
Yeah.
And hang out with them because you haven't seen them. And also school. I don't really learn well online, so because it's hard to focus, and I just hate sitting there, and I like to move around, so that's been pretty tough. But yeah,
because in school in person, you guys would typically be getting up in between classes. You finish a class, you get to move, you get to see people in the hallway, stretch your body, and have just like a break, a transition from one class to the other. With this remote learning, you just go from one to the next, and maybe you get up and have a snack or walk from one room to the next and say hi to a family member, but it's definitely not the same. So all right. Has there, and I'm curious about this, has there been anything during this time that has been positive, or something you've learned about yourself during this time that maybe pre-COVID you didn't know about yourself, or an interest you've developed because you've been, trapped inside more? I'm curious about that. Charlie.
An interest that I grew over quarantine was cooking, because I'm starting to watch MasterChef a lot, and I just cooked dinner tonight. So, and I've been cooking for 2 months, I think now.
Yeah, so, probably 2-3 months.
Yeah.
And the dinner was delicious, I will say that. So who else? Anything positive, anything you learned about yourself? And if the answer is no, that's fine. But just checking.
I learned how much I enjoy being lazy and comfortable. I mean, everybody enjoys that, but like I really enjoy it now. I don't really know if that's a good thing for me or a bad thing, But yeah, I learned that.
Okay. All right. I will put Carolyn and Kai on this with this question. If you were, and this could be a 1 or 2 word answer, okay? But everybody's got to answer it. If you were to pick 1 or 2 words, feelings, that would sort of describe what the last 9 months, and I know obviously things change, but in general, what would you describe? What's an adjective or a feeling that you would describe? Some feelings could be anxious, sad, scared, happy, surprised, any of those kind of things. There's other feelings, obviously. So give me 1 or 2 words that would describe that for you. I'll start with Kai.
Is boring an adjective?
Yeah,
Okay,
and a
boring.
feeling. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Carolyn.
It's not really an adjective, I think, but changes.
Okay.
I guess because
Yeah.
there's so many different things that are happening. It's
How do the changes make you feel?
some are good, some are bad. Like I feel like a couple years ago I wouldn't think this would ever happen, and I would think like it's just crazy to me how like my parents tell me that I can't do certain things now because I could get sick. So it's just kind of like upsetting, I guess. But
yeah. Charlie, what would you say?
I would say 2 words. I would say energetic and upset,
Okay.
because there's all this stuff that we could have done that we can't do now.
Yeah. And why you choose energetic?
Because since I'm stuck in the house all day, like I have nothing to do but sit there, kind of.
So you have all this pent up energy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Jonathan, what would you say?
I do 2 words. I'd say both crowded but empty, because you're in the house all day and you're stuck with your family all the time. And then the rare occasion you do go outside, either at just like any place, it's like really empty everywhere. And so it feels weird because usually you would be like crowded at Target or like other places that are still open, but it's really empty. So yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little strange, sort of a strange feeling. All right. So I'm going to end with a question going into 2021. And I guess my question would be, thinking forward into this new year we're about to enter, what is like one wish or hope or expectation that you might have for this coming year? For yourself, for your family, for your community, whatever. It could be for anything. But what's something you think about going into 2021 now that you're sort of hoping or wishing for?
I'm wishing for it to be better than 2020.
Fair enough. Nobody else can use that answer. So you got to think of something else. Charlie.
2.
Okay.
1, I wish I can play sports. I hope I can play sports this year. And 2, I hope that I can get the PS5 soon.
You needed to get that PS5 in here somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Kai or Carolyn?
I hope that I can go back to school soon, like in person.
Okay, good. And Carol?
For me, I hope that all my family stays safe, and I hope that we can all get like vaccines soon.
Mm,
And also, I hope that the pandemic will like start to end,
mm,
like in a couple months, because basketball this summer is an important summer for me,
mhm.
just in general for like college exposure. So it will hurt my college, like colleges seeing me play
Mhm.
if they can't like come to the games.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I think that's a hope that we all have, right? Going into this year, is that in the next 4 to 6 months, people will get vaccinated and there'll be some level of normalcy.
Mhm.
And you all will be able to come out to Massachusetts on vacation, and we'll be able to travel out there, and that we all can kind of get back to some level of normalcy. So we're not dealing with all these different situations. But what I will say is that I think what this situation has proved to me is that we're all a lot more resilient, strong, can get through these things, maybe more so than what we thought. And even though there's times people are stressed or anxious or worried or, bored or whatever the different feelings are, that, we've all sort of found a way to manage to get through this. And when we get through this, we'll all be a little stronger and maybe a little more connected and appreciative of our time that we have with our friends, or playing sports, or sitting in a classroom, or eating dinner at a restaurant, whatever the things are that you like to do. Go on a vacation. So hopefully we'll all have a little bit of that this year. So do you have, any of you have any concluding thoughts or inspirational statements, or are you done? Come on, Jonathan, I bet you have something inspiring to say.
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate your time with me tonight. So I want to say, I hope that everybody watching and listening has a great week, and I will be speaking, or you'll be hearing from me next week. Take care and be well.